I've been married to my wife, 43F, for 18 years, and I'm a 45M. We have two children, a 16-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son. And until recently, I thought we had a strong, joyful life together. We met in our mid-20s through shared friends and hit it off instantly. She's intelligent, witty, and has a straightforward personality that I've always admired. We built a life filled with small traditions and private humor, Sunday family breakfasts making waffles, late-night crime drama marathons after the kids were asleep, and splitting tasks like school runs or cooking based on our schedules. Our marriage isn't flawless, no marriage is, but it's always felt truthful and steady. I manage most of our finances, while my wife takes on more of the parenting responsibilities. It's a balance that suits us. I work from home, and she works part-time while coordinating the kids' busy schedules. We share a home office. I use it during the day, and she takes it over in the evenings when she's feeling creative. Life has been hectic lately, especially with our daughter exploring college options and our son starting high school. Our recent discussions often center on saving for education, home repairs, or driving the kids to their extracurriculars, typical middle-aged family stuff. One thing about me, I brought some trust issues into our marriage from a past relationship. My ex before my wife cheated on me, and it shattered me at the time. I was open about this when we got serious, and my wife promised she'd always be honest with me. I trusted her completely. In 18 years, she's never given me a solid reason to question her. We've had disagreements about money, parenting styles, the usual, but we always worked through them. There's never been any hint of infidelity, and I never thought I'd have to worry about that with her. She's always been outspoken about her disdain for cheaters, having been betrayed by a college boyfriend before we met. We connected over our shared experiences of being hurt in the past. But recently something's felt off. It's not glaringly obvious, no blatant signs of an affair, just subtle shifts I can't quite pinpoint. For instance, she's been more distracted lately. I'll be speaking and she's clearly not listening, lost in her thoughts. When I ask if she's okay, she brushes it off, saying she's stressed about work or exhausted. That's reasonable. She's juggling a lot with her job, the kids, and supporting her mom. But this is new. She used to be the one noticing when I was distracted. Speaking of her mom, my father-in-law passed away last year from cancer, and it hit our family hard. My wife was especially close to her parents, and his death devastated her. Since then, she's made a point to visit her mom, who lives an hour away in her childhood hometown, every other weekend to keep her company. I've always encouraged this. I cared deeply for my father-in-law, and I want my mother-in-law to feel supported. I usually stay home with the kids to give my wife that one-on-one time with her mom. Lately, though, these visits have become more frequent, sometimes every weekend, or she'll leave Friday after our son's soccer game and stay through Sunday. At first, I didn't question it. Grief is unpredictable, and if being with her mom or in her childhood home helps, I wasn't going to object. I missed her, but I figured she needed that connection. But I've started noticing small discrepancies. For example, she'd mentioned doing something at her mom's, like sorting out the attic. But later, my mother-in-law would say something that didn't match, like how they still need to tackle the attic before winter. I dismissed these at first. Maybe her mom forgot or my wife stopped for takeout instead of cooking. My wife isn't great at lying. These were sloppy inconsistencies, but nothing definitive. Then something happened that really shook me. A few weeks ago, I was on the phone with my mother-in-law, discussing some home repairs I was helping arrange for her. She thanked me and mentioned how grateful she was for both my wife and me, adding that one of my wife's old friends has been a godsend, helping out around the house. That caught me off guard. I asked what she meant, and she seemed surprised I didn't know. She explained that a high school friend of my wife's, let's call him Mark, has been stopping by during my wife's visits to help with tasks like fixing the porch or painting the garage. I had to stay calm, but inside I was reeling. My wife never mentioned Mark helping out. In fact, she specifically told me she painted the garage herself last month. I remember because I offered to drive up and assist, but she said she had it handled. Now I learn Mark was there too, and not just once. It sounds like he's been a regular presence. For context, Mark is my wife's high school and college ex. I met him once years ago at a local event. She assured me back then that there was nothing to worry about, that their relationship was ancient history. I forgot about him after that. But now he's back in her hometown, apparently spending time with my wife during her visits. That alone might not be a big deal. People reconnect during tough times. Maybe he was just helping her family out of respect. But if it's innocent, why didn't she tell me? We don't keep secrets like this. If she'd said, "Hey, Mark's been helping at Mom's," I might have felt a twinge of discomfort, but I wouldn't have assumed the worst. I have female friends, she has male friends, and we've never been the jealous type. Her silence feels intentional. After that call with my mother-in-law, I tried to act normal, but my mind was spinning. That evening, I casually asked my wife how her mom was doing and if anyone else had been helping out. She said it was just her and her mom catching up and doing chores. No mention of Mark. I even asked directly, "Did you paint the garage all by yourself? That must have been a lot." She looked me in the eye and said it was fine, just a couple of afternoons' work. That hit me hard. She lied to my face. I didn't reveal that I knew about Mark, but her deliberate omission felt like a betrayal. Maybe she thought I'd be upset, but that doesn't justify hiding it. We usually stay connected when apart, texting photos, like her sending a snapshot of a cake she baked with her mom, or me sending one of our son practicing his new chore of cleaning the gutters. But lately, during her trips, she's been slower to respond. I'll send a quick text, and it might take hours for her to reply, with excuses like she left her phone in the car while shopping or was taking a nap. These could be true, but combined with everything else, my instincts are screaming that something's wrong. I haven't confronted her yet. I'm trying to stay rational. There could be a harmless explanation, but I feel foolish even considering that. I learned long ago not to ignore my gut. I haven't shared this with anyone in person. I don't want to damage her reputation or create drama if it's nothing. But I feel like I'm in the dark, possibly being deceived. I'm being cautious, watching her stories for consistency. It's awful to feel this way about the person I trust most. I'm unsure of my next move. Should I ask her directly about Mark? Should I gather more evidence first to avoid her dismissing me? I don't want to become a suspicious, snooping husband, but I also don't want to be the naive spouse who misses obvious signs. Any advice is welcome. I hate that I'm even in this position. This is the woman I've shared nearly half my life with. I want to believe she wouldn't betray me, but right now I'm not sure what to think. Update 1. The consensus from my last post was to trust my instincts and possibly gather more information before confronting her. Many suggested checking phone records or bank statements. Since I manage our finances and phone plan, it wasn't hard to look. What I found crushed any hope that this was just my imagination. I checked our phone bill online and reviewed my wife's call and text logs. We have unlimited plans, so we rarely look at details, but the records are accessible. I noticed a pattern, hundreds of texts and numerous calls with an unfamiliar number at all hours. Daytime, late at night, even early mornings. Most other numbers were familiar, mine, the kids, her mom, her close friends. This number had an area code matching her hometown. I'm almost certain it's Mark's. I sat on this for a day, debating my next step. I considered calling the number, but decided against it. I didn't want to act impulsively. Instead, I chose to verify her next visit to her mom's in person. She'd already told me she was going this weekend, leaving Friday and returning Sunday. I said that was fine, and the kids and I would manage. On Saturday, after she left, I called my mother-in-law for a casual check-in, hoping to confirm if my wife was there. I kept it light, asking about the weather, and if my wife was busy with chores, mentioning she wasn't answering my texts. My mother-in-law sounded confused and said my wife wasn't there this weekend. She'd told her she was tied up with a big project and would visit the following weekend. I had to stay composed, pretending it was my mistake, saying I must have mixed up the dates. I thanked her and ended the call. She didn't suspect anything. So my wife lied to both me and her mom about her whereabouts. She's not at her mom's, and I can't think of an honest reason for this. The most likely explanation is she's with Mark. Maybe they planned a trip or she's at his place. After the call, I was trembling, a mix of anger and disbelief. To be thorough, I checked our joint bank account for clues. I found charges from Friday. One at a gas station near her hometown, expected if she drove there, but two in a city 30 miles away. A mid-range hotel and a restaurant, time-stamped around 8 p.m. for dinner and midnight for the hotel. I felt nauseous. That city's a popular spot for romantic getaways with inns and vineyards. We've visited together before. It seems she and Mark went there for a night away. Unless she's suddenly reviewing hotels for a side gig, the truth is clear. I haven't confronted her yet. She's due back tomorrow evening, assuming she sticks to her story. I don't know if she'll visit her mom to keep up the charade or come straight from wherever she's been. I'm planning to confront her privately when she returns, away from the kids. I'm torn between doing it immediately or waiting until they're not around, but it'll happen tomorrow. I have enough evidence. She doesn't know what I've uncovered. I'm furious but strangely calm, like my mind's in survival mode. I've been rehearsing how to approach this, but I know it'll be unpredictable. I barely slept last night, pacing and checking my phone. I just want this to be over. Update 2, I'm exhausted, so bear with me if this is scattered. Last night was intense. I confronted my wife. She got home around 6 p.m. Sunday, looking worn out but acting normal. I held it together through dinner with the kids, waiting until they were in their rooms with homework or phones. Then I asked her to talk, and my tone must have given me away. She looked anxious. We went to the home office and shut the door. I stood, she sat. My heart was racing, but I kept my voice steady. I told her I knew she wasn't at her mom's this weekend. She tried to play it off, insisting she was there and mentioning my call with her mom as proof. I stopped her and said I'd spoken to her mom, who confirmed she wasn't there. I also brought up the phone records and bank charges. Her face went pale and she started crying, apologizing and reaching for me. I stepped back and told her not to touch me. I stayed calm but firm, demanding the truth. She kept saying it wasn't what I thought and that she planned to tell me eventually, hard to believe. After some back and forth, she admitted she's been seeing Mark. It started months ago after her dad's funeral. At first, it was just catching up, sharing memories and supporting each other through grief. Then they met for coffee, which turned into regular meetups during her visits. She claimed it was platonic at first, and she felt guilty even then, so she hid it. But over time, emotions blurred and they crossed a line. She admitted they slept together a couple of months ago during one of her trips, and this weekend was a planned getaway. She was sobbing, saying she was sorry that her dad's death left her lost, and Mark was there for her. She swore she still loves me. Hearing her justify it made me sick. I told her confiding in a friend is one thing, but an affair is a deliberate choice she made repeatedly. I reminded her how my past betrayal crushed me, and she did the same thing she promised never to do. I pointed out that we both knew the pain of being cheated on, which made her actions even worse. She tried to explain, saying it wasn't about hurting me. She was depressed, felt empty, and Mark offered an escape. I had no patience for that. She never told me she was struggling. I asked if she loved him. She quickly said no, insisting it was just comfort, not love, and that I was always her priority. That felt hollow after her lies. The conversation went in circles, her apologizing, me expressing my pain, her trying to explain. I was done. I told her I couldn't even look at her and needed space. I said I don't know what this means for our marriage, but she can't stay here. She begged me not to decide anything yet, to calm down. I laughed bitterly. I'm the calm one after months of her deception. I told her to stay with her mom starting tomorrow. It was late and the kids were asleep, so she slept in the guest room. I took the couch, barely sleeping. This morning was tense. We put on a front for the kids, but they sensed something. My daughter asked if we were okay, and I mumbled about work stress. After they left for school, my wife wanted to talk more. I shut it down, saying I had nothing to say and needed space. She suggested therapy, individual for her, maybe couples for us. I said I'm not promising anything. My focus is the kids and surviving the next few days. She packed a bag and left for her mom's a few hours ago, saying she's sorry and hopes we can talk soon. I barely responded. I feel drained, angry, numb, heartbroken. I haven't told anyone except you all. My plan is to focus on the kids and keep things stable. They'll notice their mom's gone, so we agreed to say she's helping grandma for a bit. I hate lying to them, but I'm not ready to tell them the truth. I'll figure out what's next. Maybe a lawyer, maybe not. This still feels surreal. A week ago, I thought we were a normal family. Now everything's shattered. Update 3. It's been a few weeks since the confrontation, and things are still chaotic. We told the kids we're separated, not the full reason, just that mom and dad have serious problems and need to live apart for now. It was tough. My daughter was emotional, asking questions I couldn't answer without lying or hurting her. My son was quiet, probably processing. We assured them we love them and this isn't their fault. We said their mom's staying with grandma temporarily. My daughter, sharp as she is, likely suspects more. She's noticed her mom's absence and the strained atmosphere, but hasn't asked directly about infidelity. Her worried looks break my heart. I hate that our mess is affecting them. My wife's still at her mom's. She visits the kids on weekends and I make myself scarce. We communicate only about the kids via text or brief calls, keeping it professional. She sends occasional messages apologizing and asking to talk about us, but I'm not ready. Right now, there's no us in my mind. From what I've heard through my mother-in-law and my wife's brief updates, she's struggling. My mother-in-law called to apologize, saying she doesn't condone her daughter's actions and feels caught in the middle. She says my wife's crying daily and started therapy. It's a strange spot. My mother-in-law's grieving her husband and now dealing with her daughter's failing marriage. We agreed the kids come first, and she said I'm like a son to her no matter what happens. That hit me hard. I've had ups and downs. The first week was brutal, barely eating or sleeping, just functioning for the kids. I took a few sick days from work, unable to focus. I confided in my older brother, who was livid and offered his place, but I stayed for the kids' stability. I also told a close friend who's been through a divorce after cheating. He was the cheater but has since rebuilt his life. He's been a great listener and suggested I talk to a lawyer. I've consulted one to understand my options, dividing assets, custody, maybe selling the house. It was heavy, making this feel more real. I haven't decided on filing, torn between knowing I may never trust her again and hesitating because of the kids and the weight of ending an 18-year marriage. Some days I'm certain I want a divorce. Others, I see a family photo or recall happier times and I'm overwhelmed with sadness and doubt. I got an STD test, just in case. Humiliating to explain to my doctor, but thankfully negative. My wife keeps asking to talk, with or without a counselor, but I'm not ready. The idea of hearing more apologies or excuses makes me angry. She says she'll do anything to fix this, but I'm not sure it's fixable. I haven't ruled out a conversation eventually, maybe for closure or co-parenting, but not now. For now, we're separated, prioritizing the kids and getting through each day. The holidays will be tricky. I've told my wife I'm not making any promises beyond the present. She knows divorce is a real possibility and says she won't fight it if I choose that path. I wish I had some clarity or uplifting takeaway, but I'm still in the thick of it. Maybe time will bring perspective. For now, I'm focusing on my kids and surviving. It's painful, but at least the truth is out, and I know what I'm facing.